sports flowing in their veins. Mackie and Judd on Score North and ScoreNorth.com.
There was not a rush or even a movement of teams who either had cap space or who could create cap space to go out and give Kyrie Irving the kind of commitment he wanted. Brooklyn wasn't going to do it. And so I think this is a year where Kyrie Irving can rebuild perhaps his value around the league and the belief that he could be counted on. And I think more than anything, he's got to show that to teams around the league, and he's got to show that to the Nets.
Boys.
Reckless speculation.
We are approaching peak reckless speculation season here. Reckless speculation as a vessel was born to sail in these waters that we are headed into.
That's so true.
Later on this week. Yeah.
God,
would you guys? So we'll get into some Timberwolves stuff here. I have a Timberwolves question for you as we head into NBA free agency. But real quick, just to set the scene. So in the last couple days here, basically in the last 24 hours, Kyrie Irving staying in Brooklyn. You heard from Woj there. And by the way, when a player exercises a team option, it doesn't guarantee they're staying. But in this case, I don't know what the Nets. Kyrie could have opted out and probably signed a multi-year deal somewhere else. Russell Westbrook wasn't going to make that kind of money. Russell Westbrook opted in for $47 million because he's cooked, and this is his last chance to get $47 million a year. Mm-hmm. So the Lakers are probably still going to try and trade Russell Westbrook. Kyrie probably staying in Brooklyn with Durant, but we'll see. John Wall became a free agent. Also has been a shell of himself since the injury, the Achilles, so it'll be interesting to see, but he's going to the Clippers. But my question to you guys first is, Russell Westbrook exercises a $47 million player option. Nobody wants him there. If the front office could wash their hands of that mistake, they would. I think at this point, LeBron, even though he's the one that advocated for, I want my friend to come over and we'll have 3 stars, it'll be great. Would you feel guilty at all? Would you guys feel guilty at all exercising a $47 million option, knowing that no one really wants you to work there anymore?
If I was the player, absolutely not. No way. Okay. They signed me. I negotiated it. And you know what? The other important thing to keep in mind is, and we've covered enough guys to have seen this, most of them in situations like this have no conscience. So Russell Westbrook is, look, right or wrong, no matter how you feel about him, Kirk Cousins became the first quarterback to get a fully guaranteed contract. We're talking rare air, right? We're talking that's got to be Rodgers or Brady. I have found that the majority of athletes have an ability in their brain to turn off a feeling of guilt or responsibility, unlike I've ever seen. In this sense, think about if you had, Phil, if you were told today by the company that you were going to be suspended for 3 months starting in September, pending an appeal because you failed a drug test, okay?
Oh.
Michael Pineda.
I do live in Washington.
Guys like that, and guys like, they have had this cloud. To me, it would be this cloud. I would be downtrodden. I'd feel guilt. I'd feel the majority of guys who get pinched for something like that, you find out.
Well, wait
3
a second.
months.
You're saying okay, I see where you're going here.
I'm saying there's no guilt. It's a weird.
I would feel terrible.
I know you would. No, I'm saying you would. But a guy like Pineda just kept going, kept pitching.
He probably felt a little guilty, didn't he?
Well, he might have internally, but you never really saw
question.
A thing. And so, no, I don't
crying
think
on the mound, but he probably felt guilty.
I don't think that these guys like Westbrook who are going to be paid or guys who get in trouble, I think a lot of them have this weird switch in their brain that they can flip off, that the majority of us would say I would absolutely feel really, really burdened to the point of struggling to do my job, where I don't think that they have that. I don't think they have that same guilt that the common person like us carries.
Okay, so what would you feel guilty?
Judd Zolgad.
That's my question.
Yeah, I probably would. If I was
your contract is actively shipwrecking the organization and preventing other players from coming on board too.
If our bosses called me today and said, Judd, you absolutely suck. You are terrible. Your takes are off. They just stink. You used to give good takes, and now they're terrible takes.
Inefficient. You're an inefficient
you're an inefficient. host,
Just like Russell Westbrook.
and you are holding Declan and Phil down, and you're making way too much. Would I feel guilty? Yes, I absolutely would.
Okay.
Yeah. So yes, I guess the answer is, in all truthfulness, all candidness, Judd Zolgad would feel guilty.
I would not feel guilty one bit. Not at
Really?
this point in my
Get the
life.
bag.
No. At this point in my life, no.
Well, you also you're like on the ascent, right? You're
Yeah.
You're so approaching your media prime. You're waiting for the big bag for the first time, and then maybe at the end of your prime, maybe it's a different story. But right now, you're looking for the bag.
I'm looking for the bag, but also to the point that Judge's trying to make, and even to get down the weeds of working in media and securing the quote unquote bag, because I think there's a misconception like of people, of my friends or family and circle, who don't understand media and don't understand the financial parts and think, oh, like you're doing all this work or you're doing all this stuff and you should be worth X amount. Like, yes, do I believe I should be worth X amount? But in the media scheme, like, it's not as black and white as you should be making this amount of money, because corporate America is a lot different than the media. So you kind of got to take what you can get and eventually work your way up, where it's not as easy as getting an insane amount of money right away.
$47 million, man. Good for
I'll take
Russell
it.
Westbrook. So, all right, here's my Wolves question for you guys. We've already seen a bunch of splash things happen. Kyrie going back. You got John Wall over here, and it's we're still 2 or 3 days away from the actual league year opening up. If the Wolves don't, and there's been all these Wolves rumors, right? Clint Capella and Rudy Gobert, and we've been talking about DeJounte Murray for a week. It sounds like maybe the Hawks have the inside track now, according to a local report down there. If the Wolves don't get splashy, if they just run it back pretty much, and D'Lo comes back for the last year of his contract, and obviously Anthony Edwards can take a huge step forward, and there's things that can get better by just running it back, but. Well, how would you feel if they really just kind of said, we're going to wait till next summer to do anything overtly splashy? How would that sit with you guys?
I think if you look at what they potentially could have from a cap standpoint after the coming season, if they do just slow cook this, it's not as much fun. So, yes, it would be, from the standpoint of our shows, it would be fun if they got aggressive and dealt D'Lo and made moves. But from a standpoint of a Wolves fan, if you are like, okay, this could be a lot of fun, but the flip side is it's going to be sort of just status quo for now, I think that, one, that might be the smartest thing, and two, you didn't hire Tim Connelly to try and appease the fans, or us, more importantly. You hired Tim Connelly because he's got a track record and a background that screams competence. So this might not be a great or fun answer, but I really think that to a large degree, especially with a guy with the experience that Conley has, I'm fine trusting him. So yeah, like it's fun. You know what? Jumping into the NBA deep end of the pool in early July is great, man. You can splash around and swim around, and it's fun. But the reality is this: the Timberwolves have been, in some way, shape, or form, for a long time, mismanaged so badly that I think that you bring in a guy like Conley to trust him. So it's not as much fun, but it might be the most responsible and smartest thing. And I think we all agree that we want the Wolves long-term to finally turn a corner and be a perennial playoff team that can make playoff runs. So however you're going to get there, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I think I'm reflecting back to our January and February discussions about the Vikings and their decision to mostly keep the roster intact. They did make a couple little additions, and the Wolves have a mid-level exception, so the Wolves could bring in a new piece or two, and they get a couple draft picks. So there's things they can do without some sort of massive blockbuster, just like the Vikings did. The reason why I was irritated by the Vikings approach is that they've been kind of running into the same wall for sure for the last 2 years, but even like as a franchise for the last 20 or 30 years, they just keep banging their head into this mediocrity wall, this 500 wall. And for them to come out and say, you know what? If we just swap out the coach, let's get rid of Mike Zimmer and bring in a rookie coach, that's going to take this thing from 8 wins to 11 or 12. There's a lot of hubris in thinking and saying that. And we'll see what happens. I do like the offseason they've had on the edges. But it doesn't feel like the Vikings' current nucleus with a bunch of dudes in their 30s, right? Eric Kendricks and Harrison Smith and Kirk Cousins, Adam Thielen, that collection has a huge new gear that they can get to that hasn't been unlocked before. With the Timberwolves, it does kind of feel like there's another level or two maybe with Anthony Edwards, maybe with Karl Anthony Towns, if he can get his mind right in some of the big games, Jaden McDaniels. So I wouldn't be devastated. It would be a little bit of a buzzkill with all the names that they're reportedly sniffing around on if they just kind of ran it back. But there is another level to get to, and then they would have a boatload of flexibility and cap space for next summer to add to whatever they do in 2022-23.
I think, too, when you're looking at worrying about yourself here and you're trying to make your team better, the problem is with the West, and Doogie has touched on this, like, the Clippers are probably going to be a lot better next season, right? They only won 42 games, only had Paul George for a little bit. If they get a healthy Paul George, I know John Wall looks like he's going to sign there, but really, like, the Clippers should be better next season. The Lakers probably should be better than a 33-win team next season. The Pelicans, although they had a nice little showing, could be better, but, like, really, how far is their ceiling? Like, what is Zion going to be?
They'll be a lot better if Zion plays. He's
and
really
then,
good.
I think the overachievers in the West. So did the Grizzlies overachieve maybe to a degree last year? Is Phoenix, did they hit their ceiling, and could they be coming down? So it's also like there's a math game right now in the West. It's not as simple as, well, all right, if the Wolves just run it back, where do we go? Look at the Western Conference right now, and the teams that underachieved, and the Clippers and the Lakers and the Pelicans, are they going to rise up? Denver gets Jamal Murray back last year, and they still won 48 games. So the West is still packed. And I think as a Minnesota sports fan, what you don't want to do, because the Twins are notorious for this, the Wild have sometimes been notorious for this, is you see a window and you're still afraid to push the chips in, right? And this is a little different because the Wolves don't have chips, and it's not like prospects just at your disposal that you can trade to make your team better like the Twins and Wild could do. But you have to look, I think, at the whole Western Conference stew and try to see where you fit into that puzzle.
I think it's fair, though, so to juxtapose the Vikings and Wolves. Part of my issue with the Vikings was the fact that it was reported or felt that the mandate came from up top of we are going to remain competitive. And Kwesi, this is his first try here, okay? So I think it's far more fair to question him and who he's being influenced by. Tim Connelly comes with a track record of pretty good success, of some very good drafting. So, like, my inclination is to far more trust him. Like the Vikings thing, it's exciting and new, but it's new people too. And so I'm far more likely and willing to go out on a limb and question people who are new in their jobs than Conley. So like, I think it's fair. Like if the Wolves had gone out and hired a 30-year-old assistant GM from the Clippers or something, I might say, you know what, I might do this or that. But the whole purpose in bringing in and doubling the salary of a guy like Tim Connelly is to say, we trust you. Kwesi, it might be great, but we have no idea. So like, there's a big difference to me there in I am much more open to questioning a person who's got, no background for the most part in the job, as opposed to a guy who has a significant one.
Yeah. And I will say, like, I have trust right now until proven otherwise in Tim Connelly as well, and the work that he's done in Denver. And sometimes I think the Twins maybe fell into this with Derek Falvey, who's been okay, but has missed on a lot of big moves. You hire from a pool of people that helped with Cleveland's pitching, and let's hire someone from Google because Google's great or something, right? Well, look at Cleveland's pitching, so let's go hire someone who's like third in line and kind of steal from. Well, I mean, Cleveland's pitching has only gotten better and hasn't missed a beat since Falvey was there, and the Twins haven't developed, maybe one or two arms internally since he arrived. I think with Denver, you're hiring the guy who everyone regarded as, even though he is very humble and won't take credit, he was the man in that front office. He made an impact. And then the question you have to ask is, okay, are we maybe with our Timberwolves front office goggles on, we're so used to these train wrecks like David Kahn and Tom Thibodeau as a front office guy. Are we maybe putting Tim Connelly on too much of a pedestal? Because ultimately, it's not like Denver hasn't even been to the NBA Finals, right? And he's the first to tell you that. He goes, I don't know what a championship looks like. I never won one in Denver. So I'm trying to walk a line of I have trust in Conley, but I also don't want to. He's not Pat Riley.
Sure.
So I don't think he deserves to, just walk on water and do whatever he wants without any sort of questioning. But at this point, I'm with you. Whatever he decides to do in the next 2 weeks, if it's big splash move, trading 2 or 3 first-round picks for DeJounte Murray or somebody else, or if it's, you know what, guys, we're in a pretty good spot next summer, and there's some things we can do to grow with the core that we have. I'm not going to really blow a gasket either way on this thing. We should shout out real quick a couple of our partners, including a new one here on Mackey and Judd and Score North, Equity Partners. So if you are thinking about selling your home, but you're also thinking about the pain in the you-know-what factor of putting in the renovations that might be needed to increase the value, then lining up the sale of your home with the buying of a new home, Equity Partners comes in, partners with you, and makes this process easy across the board for you. You can move before you sell, and you can put an offer in on your next home, non-contingent on the sale of yours, all while also taking advantage of the WeHab program, which offers a partnership, simple fixes to total remodels, helping you get the most out of your home. And by the way, one of the owners of Equity Partners, our guy Ryan, huge Purple Daily listener, big fan of the Purple. So support them. You can support us by doing that. EquityPartnersMN.com if you're looking to make the home selling process very easy. EquityPartnersMN.com. Also, if you're looking to lose some weight here, the summer's not over. You can still look good. You can still get that beach bod like Judd has right now.
And I can tell you exactly how to do that thanks to my friends at Livia Weight Control Centers. Down 40 pounds. That's right, down 40 pounds, feeling great, double chin gone, clothes all fit. And now I've got from them an offer for you. It's the Simple Start Plan, only $59. That's right, $59 to get your life and your weight back on track. If you're in town, they've got several of their centers that you can go to. It's fantastic. If you're not in town, guess what? Virtual visits. Everything made simple as possible. $59, 855-GO-LIVEA, Livia.com. Livia, Livea.com, $59. It gets you in shape. It gets you feeling good. And I'm going to tell you right now, the plan is as simple as can be, Livia.com.
Boys, so Judd was getting torched on Reddit last week for, well, I will admit, I agree with the Reddit people that your take on pitch framing was pretty absurd, but you were getting torched.
A lot of back and forth on that. A lot of people on my side, a lot of people not on my side.
Who was on your side?
Who was
I
on
got
your
notes
side
about because Jeffers was yanking the ball again all around. And did you see?
Prove it. Show us one of the notes.
Did you
I
see
saw it.
what happened in the A's Yankees game? Two catcher's interference calls because the violent jerking of the glove instead of framing caused both of them. I rest my case. You know what? I got a new job. Framing expert.
No.
We got run prevention coordinator.
You have no credentials to be a framing expert.
First of all, that's not true. You know what? You no longer have to play the sport to be an expert. What I will go in is with data, and that data will get me into a position to be.
Well, we brought the data to counter your ridiculous argument that Ryan Jeffers is the 4th best pitch framer in Major League Baseball. But
the framing stats are wrong now.
Okay. I digress. There's a thread on Timberwolves Reddit here. New Timberwolves podcast coming soon with Kyle Taggy and Phil Mackey, Flagrant Howls, which we will debut on the Mackey and Judd podcast feed this week, and also on the Score North YouTube channel, so you can check that out. So Kyle, he just left. He was the head of Canis Hoopus. He was the head editor, and now he's open for podcasting with us and with Dane Moore as well. And so Declan sent me this link yesterday. I was like, oh, cool, this is great. People are excited about the new podcast. Kind of. People are excited about half of the new podcast. Here's some of the comments from Timberwolves Reddit about Flagrant Howls with Phil Mackey, myself, and Kyle Taggy.
Oh, boy.
Anything with Phil Mackey is a hard pass for me. Mackey sucks. I want to at least see what Mackey's like without Judd first. I used to listen to their Viking show a lot, but over the last 1 to 2 years, or months. I don't know. He missed a word in here. It's just gotten bad to a point where I don't even want to anymore. And that's due in large part to Judd.
See?
He'll drive by there.
Shrapnel coming my way.
I welcome more Timberwolves content, but really wish it was someone other than Phil Mackey. He's a baseball guy that has no idea what he's talking about when it comes to basketball. His shtick works okay for Score North, but I don't want to hear his Wolves thoughts, to be honest. And the next guy says, his baseball opinions are terrible, too. Come on, guys. I have a family, okay? I have feelings and a family.
You have a dog, got a wife. Come on.
Phil Mackey, thumbs down. Kyle Taggy, thumbs up. Mackey is one of the last guys I want to hear talk about the Wolves. Taggy is the exact opposite, so this should be interesting. So if you want to tune in to hear Kyle Taggy talk about the Timberwolves and tolerate me, Flagrant Howls will be launching before the end of the week here. So.
Great podcast,
Can't
man.
wait. I can't wait. I think it's going to be fantastic, Phil. I think your basketball takes are spot on.
Thank you. I'm never claiming to be spot on with all of my takes, okay? I am here to make you think, make you laugh, make you angry sometimes. We're not here to be correct all the time. But I think it's going to be fun, and we were originally going to launch this thing, maybe closer to the season. It's like, I don't know.
No.
This is almost more fun than the season.
Right.
So let's do it right now and see what these guys can do. But thank you, Timberwolves Reddit, for the uplifting support and messages.
I just get, my criticism is, what does that guy on the left do? He just kind of stands there, sits there, he yawns sometimes, doesn't really talk a whole lot.
He yawns about 4 times a show,
I did get a nice, but I think I'm combating that. I got a nice new Nespresso machine, Mac Declan here for Nespresso, and it's pretty damn good. Like, I have a good pep in my step this morning.
You seem very energized today. How many hours do you sleep at night?
I get about 8 to 9 in, hopefully. About 8.
That's quite a bit of sleep.
Good.
About 8. I'm usually in bed by 10:30, 11 each night.
Okay.
Now I got the TV in the room, and now I'm kind of locked into the TV before bed, which I know is a dangerous
That's not
spot
good
to
for
be.
you.
No, apparently it's not good for you. But
do you do the sleep timer, or do you leave it on? Do you shut it off before you crash? Do you leave it on all night?
I shut it off. I'm one of those people where once I can't really fall asleep to the TV. Like, I can't get into sleepy mode. Like, I can't. I have to turn off that television before I'm physically getting ready to go to bed.
Oh, really?
Has to be off. I hate when the TV
Dawn
is on
likes
and
it
I'm
on
sleeping.
as long as possible.
Oh,
She would leave it
hate
on all night if she could.
But do you shut it
hate
off before, or do you wake up at
Yes.
3 a.m. like
No,
Judd?
I shut it off. I will shut it off. I will shut off that television. It's got to go off. Can't stand it.
What we have done now, so I am in the morning. I am guilty of all of the things they say you're not supposed to do, which is don't look at your phone for the first hour. Get up and start your day and stuff.
No.
Really?
I wake up and the first thing I do is just stare at email and Twitter for 20 minutes.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
same.
Oh,
As
most
close to
definitely.
my
Who says
face
that?
as possible. Bright lights. But
Who
at
says
night
you
we're pretty good. We shut the TV off and then we put on a little meditation or something, a little sleep meditation.
Really?
Yeah.
I
at
will. I
night-
will mute I'll mute your thread. I'll mute our thread when it's time to go to bed. I'll mute the thread when it's
Really?
trying to wind down. I gotta get out of here. I gotta. Gotta be
At
free
night,
of
I go
vacuum, Judd.
Twitter. I go Twitter and TikTok. It's great.
Loves the talk.
Love the talks. The
You're
talks
kind of
are great.
so you don't have your own TikTok account really, that you're
No.
active on. You're active on the
I don't
store. So
have-
you're kind of a TikTok creeper is what.
Yeah, just creep around
you are.
TikTok. But there's a lot of good sports stuff now, too. And it's just soundbite stuff. It's great.
Judd's only reads TikTok for the articles is what he's saying, folks.
There's a lot of good sports stuff on TikTok. Well, I mean, there's a lot of teenage stuff that I bypass, but whatever.
Yes, that's
Probably
probably
a good idea.
Probably a good idea for you. Yeah.
But I mean, seriously, I just scroll. Then I finally fall asleep. It's a great way to fall asleep.
Do you have any other thoughts on TikTok?
Yeah, this is great.
I love the talk. I'm not going to lie. I think the talk is great. The talk is not nearly as toxic as Twitter because for obvious reasons, it's more fun.
Yeah, it's
but
a happier place. People aren't just dunking on it. Like Twitter, people just dunk on each other. TikTok, I think people lift each other up. It's a more
Well, the thing about the talk too is people put in a lot of work too. Like, here's what I want to know. Who are these people who shoot themselves almost professionally? Like they do constant updates on their lives, and it's like they've got the cameras positioned around their, like they'll be making breakfast and talking about something, it's like
Yeah,
very,
they probably have little. Well, first of all, your phone. I don't know how much you use other than like your morning Judd selfies, but
not really.
Your phone has a pretty high-powered camera on it. So
Right,
as
but
long
it's
as you
like
have
the
like little
position
ring
well.
lights and you've got some tripods on your
right. But I'd like
on
to
your
see
counter.
like these kids at some points have like they must have have tripods and these lights around in different places because
Yeah.
they'll like be. It's
Dude,
like
you
a
can find
studio.
these. It's nuts when you go to Target, go to Best Buy, any of these places. I was at a Fred Meyer out here in the Pacific Northwest. They have aisles with like little ring lights and it's like anything you would need to do your own video production now from your phone. You can just get at Target, Walmart, whatever. It's crazy. I want to see Judd launch some sort of they all these food accounts on social media where it's just people making. They'll record from above or something, making a dish, making a homemade pizza.
Yes, I've seen that.
I want to see Judd do some stuff around the house on TikTok. Making a pizza, homemade pizza, efficient ways to do chores and stuff. Make you a TikTok star.
Okay.
Mine just all, how do you break 100, Declan? Here's 90 different tips. And then when you go to the golf course, remember 90 of these tips as you're trying to swing the club. That's 95% of my algorithm.
Phil, you went to the range and hozzled about 60% of your iron shots. Here are 9 TikTok videos to help you.
Oswald's a great word. I love that.